Hey guys, today we're going to talk a little bit about how our water system is set up for our chicken coops. Show you some of our successes and failures on my part.
And failures with the watering systems that actually work. We're going to get into, like I said, not everything is how well it works here at the farm. It's how well it doesn't work. We want to show you the failures just as much as we do the success.
Yes. So we have everything from your standard chicken water, which we still use, especially when the chicks are little. These are great. This is a 5-quart. We have a 5-gallon one. This is a homemade, like DIY. So you get the little kit, they're little floats that you DIY into a 5-gallon bucket, and it works really well. We've used this for.
It does have its failures, though. The biggest problem is, first off, the chickens want to stand on top of the bucket. And when they get down, they jump and they land on the little troughs, and it'll actually spin the trough sideways. At what point in time the float will not work, and it drains the entire bucket.
Or it'll leak after a while when you're scrubbing them. They like to build algae, and when you're scrubbing them, if you get a little too aggressive with them, they will start leaking, or you have to replace the O-rings kind of often. Our biggest problem with any of these type waters is that you're limited on how much water, and you have to be very, very diligent about refilling it and making sure that they have plenty of water, especially through the heat of summer.
We're running, I think, 26 chickens in actually 16 chickens in this run and 10 in another. But 16 chickens will drain a 5-gallon bucket in one day, especially midsummer in the Central Texas area.
So we went to an automatic water, which you'd commonly see for livestock, horses, cattle, goats, those type things in a stall. Growing up, we call them stall waters. They've got a float in them. So we installed one of those probably less than a year ago, and it was working really well until I got the bright idea that I wanted to put my apple cider vinegar in it for the chickens, because I like to give them apple cider vinegar. It has a lot of health benefits. We can go into that later. Well, the apple cider vinegar ate the galvanized coating on the feeder, on the water.
Smooth off.
Which caused it to rust and build some sort of, I don't even know what you want to call it. It turned the water black.
Yeah. And repeatedly, too. No matter how much you cleaned it, it would continuously come back black.
Yes.
Just after a few hours.
Just within a few hours, I scrubbed it. No more, obviously, I stopped putting apple cider vinegar in it. I know it's not our water because there's the same exact water in our other coop that I had not put apple cider vinegar in, and it is still perfect. Probably we got it a couple months after. Once we figured this one worked, we went ahead and got another one for the other coop. So today I installed a new one to replace this one so that they still have fresh drinking water. Now we still use these.
Yes.
Like I said, when we have chicks, we'll use one of these. Or in the winter time when it's really, really cold and it's in danger of freezing, we will put these out because we can put them inside the coop underneath the heat lamp to keep them from freezing. So we can kind of do two things. We can shut this one off and drain it so it doesn't freeze up. And we can monitor and use these as extra waters. But our primary source is still here.
Another note is for the outside water, make sure, we've got a fairly large chicken run, but make sure wherever you put the waterer that it is not in direct sunlight, especially, mid 1st of July, late summer, but midsummer. If you have any amount of sun hitting this water, the water temp will easily get to 120 plus degrees being in the direct sunlight. And you do not want that. That's the time of day the chickens need the water the most. So keep it in the shade. That's, plan out, figure out where you're going to put it in the coop before you actually set it up.
The other thing that we found that was really helpful for this type water is the right in front of it. And I'll bring the camera over here to try to show you some closer.
We can show them now.
Okay, let me show you now. Yeah. Hold on one second.
So this is our permanent chicken water for outside. There's actually one bag of concrete that's been underneath it. You can see where they've actually scratched out from one side of it. We're going to fill this in here shortly. But I use this outside water. I have another additional garden hose right here in the proximity. I use it on like a jet stream off of a spray wand, and that easily cleans out any of the dust or the dirt, the debris that the chickens put in the water. You have to do it probably about once a week is what I'd say.
So if you'll remember from our chicken mister video that I did a couple weeks ago, it's off the tee the other part of that is the tea from the chicken mister is what I tied into our automatic water here in the run.
All right, y'all, bonus reel. So to go with our chicken waterers, we have our do-it-yourself chicken feeders. And this is a feeder that I made. It absolutely did not work.
Well, he said
it worked.
It worked.
It didn't work as well as we intended. And basically the problem that we had was we had way too much food waste. The chickens were able to get their feet in and get their head swinging around, throw the food out. They would basically empty this bucket in an afternoon. We were using, 50 pounds of feed every 5 or 6 days or so. I mean, it was very excessive. And of course, it was all on the ground, rotting away as it got wet.
Yeah, and they wouldn't eat it. I mean, you would think they would eat it, but then they weren't eating it, and it was just constantly refilling it and trying to figure out what the problem was or what the answer was. And
so
the first thing
solution,
was if you watch the video of the container gardening, or the tree irrigation video, and when you were using those 30-gallon tubs, those cattle protein or mineral tubs, we also got the lids that went with them. So this is just one of the little chicken range cubes that you get them for treats that we got in here. But you'll see, like, this is one of the lids off of those tubs. So the first thing we did with this feeder was we put one of these underneath it, and that helped. It would catch a lot of the feed as they were pushing it out, and it let it where they would still eat it. It was keeping it off the ground. They were still eating it, but they were still wasting a ton. They would just push it off this, and they're just chickens, and that's what they do, and they forage. So we finally said that's not going to work. We need another solution.
And like I said, the fault was the diameter of the inlet, or where they're actually sticking their heads in to get the feed. So this has actually been our go-to ever since. These are some actual chicken neck feeder necks off of Amazon. I got a 4-pack, I believe, for $19.99. And the way it's designed is not like just a 90 PVC. It actually comes in and has a little hood over the back. I believe this neck is 2.5 inches in diameter. This works perfect. They still, if you look in the bottom here, they still get a few of their pellets knocked out, but it's nothing as near as bad as what we once had.
And they're still catching it, and they're still eating out of it. And I see them eat out of this way more than I see them sticking their head in here. They stick their head in there and they push it out and then they eat it here, but they're doing it at a rate where it's not getting on the ground. So we're not losing any of the feed, or very, very minimal feed. So we've got it sitting on a brick and a couple 2x6s. And what they're going to come after the bugs. They're going to come after the bugs. What I really like about these lids being under our feeder is this also gives me a place to put the oyster shell, or this is that crushed granite that you give them as a supplement for egg production. And I can sprinkle it on this edge, and they'll come in here and eat this off the side. And it's a really good place for me to just kind of monitor it and make sure that they're kind of seeing it instead of throwing it on the ground and it wasting. I can put it here, and once a month or so, I throw a couple more handfuls out here. It'll be gone, and that's the end of it. So this has worked out really, really well. This kit that we buy, I'll put a link to it down in the description. It's a 4-pack of these for what?
$19.99.
For $20 on Amazon, you get a 4-pack of these, and they've worked really, really well with this trash can. We only put 2 of them on here, even though it came with 4, because we were concerned about the waste.
How much? Yeah.
So we figured put 2, and then if we needed to add more, we could. And
this container as well, over the 5-gallon bucket. The 5-gallon bucket, I don't remember exactly how much. I think we were right at 18 pounds of feed in the bucket.
Right.
So once again, it has to be refilled quite frequently. The 30-gallon trash can holds, I believe, 2 50-pound bags of feed.
It's really full with 2 50-pound bags, but they fit, and the lid will still seal very well. Yeah. This is undercover, so we are not too worried about rain getting to it, but it would seal pretty well with 2 50-pound bags in it.
And then, as well as the keeping it off the ground, once again, we have a 4-inch concrete block with a 2x6 on top. We have the 30-gallon tub lid, you know, to catch any of the grain or the pellets that the chickens do get scattered or throw out. This particular system works very well.
We've had
Huge
really good
improvement over the bucket. Yeah.
Yes, very much so. Well, hopefully you liked the video. If you have any questions, please leave them for us. Like our channel, subscribe, hit the bell.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell. He's wanted to say that forever. So ring the bell. Let us know if you have any questions. And we'll see you on the next one.